Alright, let's talk about the changes to Act 6, because it got a whole rework, it got a whole rewards change as well. But before I get started here, if you like, if you like Mole Man, be sure to subscribe because we are on the road to 19,000 and I cannot get there without y'all's help. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about with the Act 6 changes, and I know that I feel like most of the people that watch my videos are like Valiant, but just in case there's some people that are still progressing, I do want to cover these changes for y'all. And to make it fair, I want to do these solos with a champion and a star level that y'all have access to, which is of course like 5-star characters. So I'm using 5-star Mole Man for the Sentinel, the Champion, Captain America, and Grandmaster in this video. And those are like the 4 main bosses, though I will tell you that I think there is a new hardest boss in Act 6, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But first I want to talk about this Sentinel boss. So first things first, the Plague Mind is now 30 seconds instead of 20. The stun immunity is now this like on and off type of thing, so you can parry him sometimes. And the health pool just got absolutely destroyed. It's now down to 200,000 health, and he's also unawakened. So this boss fight has become so much easier, and it's a 1-minute fight for a 5-star champion. So that's the first like victim of the Act 6 just like turbo nuke. And now we have this one here. This one is pretty much the saddest one. I feel so bad for this boss fight, man, because he's supposed to be a tough boss, right? He is the champion with the Power Stone. First of all, lore reasons here. The Power Stone champion, okay, regular champion is like 50,000 and 0 in combat, right? Like he is an elder. He is really, really overpowered, right? And then you give brother the Power Stone, he should be a really tough fight, and he was when he first came out. But now he is kind of a joke because his block penetration is just non-existent now. Like I can block so freely in this matchup. And before this, and like not even before this, because this character went through a ton of changes, but the original version, he would absolutely melt your block. Additionally, there is now a really, really big change to his unblockable, where instead of being unblockable on certain attacks, he instead gains an unblockable charge that goes away even if he whiffs. So that is a lot easier to deal with now. He also gains his furies a lot slower, so there's less threat. And then all that combined is, very, very good changes, right? But then you can have grit on intercept, which just completely stops any threat this champion has. He literally has 0 threat with that grit node, and it's on intercept. So champions like Mole Man will absolutely excel in this matchup now. And additionally, on the SP2, he now roots you, which makes the final phase so much easier. And now for that reason, this boss is completely dead in the water, in my opinion. And it is mainly because of that grit on intercept, because that counters his like single best threat. And I'm very happy for players that were struggling with this character, because now he is a whole lot easier, like so much easier. And it kind of stings for me because I had to deal with the original version, and that version I really did enjoy. But now we have this Captain America boss, and this was not a boss that I enjoyed, and I still don't really enjoy it. I think it's still a pretty tough fight, so the challenging aspects of this character pretty much left unchanged. He still has Aggression Fury, he still has Destructive Feedback, even though it was nerfed a little bit because now the cooldown is 20 seconds instead of 15, and he still has that node where whenever he drops the SP1, he'll go for the SP2 afterwards, and then he'll go for the SP3. So he still has like that challenging node as well. So he's still a pretty tough boss to deal with for sure. And yeah, besides that, I think he still has the same counters. No new counters were added really. Mole Man is still a very, very good option for this. And honestly, this video is showcasing like what changed about these bosses, but it is also showcasing my favorite champion in this game because, no one does it better than him, right? He's still the king in my heart. And yeah, he's still really, really good for questing in Act 6 like this because he's just a really, really good option for these fights. And especially with the 6.2 champion, like having that grit node where he is now pretty much doable with anyone, I feel like players will like the changes made in Act 6. But there is one boss that I am very surprised got no changes, and it is the 6.1.2 Ultron boss. If you don't know that boss, he is notorious for roadblocking Brian Grant in one of his new account challenges, and I'm pretty sure even since then, he has still received no changes. So I think he is the new hardest boss in Act 6, and it's crazy because he is the second boss in Act 6. So pretty much, once you beat him, you're kind of like home free, because all these other bosses got huge adjustments, especially the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster got a whole whirlwind of changes, and the biggest thing is his tokens of blunder now don't auto KO you at 5, it is now 10 to get auto knocked out. And I think that was like the only change needed for this fight, but there are some more changes because the health pool was also reduced by I think 25%, so this character got 25% easier, which is a bit absurd really. But now we have phase 2, and I honestly think that you get more attack rating per token now. Like, I swear I am doing so much more damage than I usually do with a 5-star champion against this fight, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about here. But yeah, we're gonna trigger the prompts. They are all still the same. Like, the foundation of this fight has been unchanged, right? And that's good, right? I think he's like one of the more unique boss fights in this game. I don't think that the foundation needed any changes, but it was just like some changes to like the punishment, which is like the 10 blunder part, and then some changes to the attack rating and the health pool. But yeah, all in all, I think that the changes to this boss are pretty good, and I feel like they were kind of overdue, because when Act 6 first got changed, this guy was unchanged, right? Like, he was the same exact fight, and I think he stood out like a sore thumb when he was not changed at all. And so it makes sense to like bring this champion down to match the changes to other parts of Act 6. But then again, there are some parts of Act 6 that I still think are a bit troubling, and I'm surprised that they weren't changed. And the biggest thing that I have a problem with is the fact that the amount of paths stayed the same, because in 6.2 especially, there are just like an absurd number of paths, especially in like the later chapters such as 6.2.5 and 6.2.6. Actually, no, that one you can do like in one run, so never mind. But like 6.2.5 is like the biggest issue, right? And also, really funny thing, but 6.2.5 Mordo, his strength in numbers node still not removed. That surprised me so much. It was one of the most troubling nodes of all time when it first came out, and people were like, okay, surely, right? Surely this time around, when they want to make this as easy as ever, they take away strength in numbers, right? Nope, it is still there, which is just absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, there are some questions that I have with the changes, like why weren't the paths reduced? Some paths are still pretty difficult. Like, I feel like in 6.2.6 there is this bloody mess path that has like mainly mutant characters and Killmonger, and I feel like that is a really tough ask for a newer player to complete that. So yeah, there are some like decisions that I'm a bit skeptical on, and also like 6.1.2 Ultron having no changes, a bit skeptical on that as well. There are some changes to the other notorious bosses such as Sinister, which now has a built-in Fury buff node, which means for Caustic Temper you only need to have a poison immune, which is a really good change. It opens up a lot more options for that fight that was notoriously a roadblock. So I think that they did approach a lot of the challenges, and they did solve the challenges really well. But also keep in mind, I haven't fully looked at all of Act 6 yet, because it is of course a big chapter or a big act, and I can't like look at all of it today, but I do want to like go through it. I do want to make a new account challenge, and like the main focus is exploring Act 6, so that will come eventually. But I do want to say, like, so far the biggest pain points have been addressed for sure. And then there's the rewards, which I think they are really good for what act it's in, right? It's in Act 6. The old Act 6 completion had a 5-star Nexus crystal. Now it has 3 6-star Nexus crystals. Additionally, there are now 2 7-star crystals for exploring this entire act, which is a really big jump from the, let me check real quick, 0 7-star shards that were in this previously. And also, in exploring this, you do get 4 extra 6-star Nexus crystals. So yeah, the crystal shards alone, just a massive jump. But then there's also a ton of catalysts and resources to 1, awaken your 6-star champions, 2, get them to at least rank 4 plus. I'm pretty sure you can get enough tier 6 class catalysts to rank 5 a 6-star champion, which is really good, because a rank 5 6-star champion can get through all of Act 7 without even blinking, man. It's crazy how powerful 6-star characters are for Act 7, and not only that, but like rank 5 6-star characters that you can probably ascend as well, given like how like common that resource is nowadays. So yeah, the rewards set you up perfectly for Act 7 and beyond, and you also get 2 7-star champions that you can even do the 7 for 7 challenge with those 2 new 7-star champions, because that gives you more 7-star shards and also gives you extra Titan shards. So I think the rewards are like pretty much a perfect setup for like what you're about to approach later on in the game, which is of course like Act 7 and like Karina's challenges, things like that. So I honestly like the rewards. I think that they are a really like massive upgrade from what they once were, and like that's all I was expecting, really, right? I was more focused like on the changes to Act 6 that were like promised, and I feel like they did deliver, except for like the paths staying the same. And yeah, that's like my biggest complaint, right? Because energy, of course, is always a scarce resource, and like having to use a lot of it to explore like just one quest in Act 6, that is a bit tough, and it might not motivate people enough to explore this thing. And I feel like that was the whole goal of this, right? To get people to start exploring Act 6. So while the rewards are very enticing, and I think will get people to bite on exploring this act, I think the energy will definitely catch up to them. But there are some other rewards here to like satisfy you, such as like a ton of ISO, which is always a really cool thing. But yeah, I think all in all, pretty good changes. Let me know your thoughts on the Act 6 changes. I always read the comments, so I really want to see what y'all think about them. And yeah, that's about it for me.